Human resources is going through a vast transformation in companies. Human resource officers really need to understand the power of social media inside the company, not just using social media with customers and externally for marketing purposes. Inside the company, companies like Cerner Corporation and IBM, both profiled in the 2020 workplace, have created internal corporate social networks where the business benefits are increased productivity, increased collaboration, and the best phrase of all from Cerner Corporation was increased speed of innovation. The goal was to increase the speed from the identification of a new product or concept and the adoption. When you think of the global workplace in 2020, which is the name of our book, you think of three words. One, global, and the growth is now in the BRIC part of the world, Brazil, Russia, India, and China. The second word you think about is age diverse. Interestingly, in the research that we conducted, by the year 2020, there'll be 5 generations working together side by side, rather than what there is today, 4 generations. And the third word you have to really keep in mind, which goes to the issue of social media, is hyper-connected. Many young working professionals prefer to send messages on Facebook. And what are employers doing about this? Many that we work with are creating internal corporate social networks where employees can learn, can collaborate, and can communicate with their peers around the world. When you have 5 generations in the workplace, you have to think very creatively about each segment of your employee and understand how to motivate them and communicate with them and develop them in a different way. So what are organizations doing? Well, first they're doing reverse mentoring. That means a millennial, someone born between the years of 1977 and 1997, often can mentor a senior executive on the power of social media. The next thing they're doing is actually group mentoring online, using online technologies to mentor rather than just face-to-face. The third technique that companies are using, like L'Oreal, the cosmetics company, is that they're holding formal workshops, formal training workshops, where they're bringing together a multi-diverse age group and really talking about the differences in how they communicate and different working styles so that they can form a more highly productive team. In the book, The 2020 Workplace, we have a whole chapter called Social Recruiting, how recruiting in many organizations is moved from the college campus to the internet. Most recruiting is going to start on social networking sites like Facebook and Twitter. Perhaps the best example here is Ernst & Young, the large professional service firm, which was one of the first companies to have their own Facebook fan page. Today, they have over 50,000 fans, and it's an excellent example of developing a very early relationship and dialogue with potential new hires. Internal communications is going to be vastly changed in the year 2020. We see most CEOs either should or have today their own blog. So we think crisis communications, internal communications, marketing communications are going to start on a social network and be elaborated in an email, in a town hall meeting, in an all-hands meeting, but they're going to be using social networking as the first point of contact with many of their employees. We see companies, number one, falling in love with the iPad. more and more communications, more and more corporate training. A number of our clients are moving corporate classrooms from the campus and an instructor to the iPad. In addition to the iPad, is companies creating their own version of Second Life, of 3D communications. This is especially a powerful method of communication for what we've called in the book the 2020 generation. They're in junior high school now, but they've been using their social networks with their toys since the age of 4. They've been on virtual worlds since the age of 8. So we see companies creating their own customized versions of 3D experiences inside the firewall. One of the compelling predictions in our book, The 2020 Workplace, is that your reputational capital will be the way you get promoted and hired in organizations. And increasingly, we see new jobs being created, and one of the requirements is to have a certain number of followers on Twitter or a certain number of individuals in your social network on LinkedIn. We also see organizations building questions into the recruiting process, asking, how are you using your social network to impact your business and increase your productivity? We think by the year 2020, social media literacy will be as common as ethics training and diversity training in Fortune 500 companies today.